Hey John,
Eric, how are you tonight?
I'm I'm awake.
Survey says, okay, that's good.
uh,
That's better than not
yeah.
awake.
Yeah, it may be a short one tonight. I am tired.
Already fading. All right. Well,
Yeah.
uh, we can't lose the streak though. So hey, no,
No, no, we're good. We're
yeah,
good.
that's good.
It
That's
it
good.
was just an extra long day, so I am 800 miles away from my house right now,
All right.
and I got here by car, which means it was a very long day
Yet another road
a
trip.
couple of days ago. Yep, another long road trip, but it's all good. We got daughter number two got to see where she's going to college. They have restarted in person tours. So she got a number of tours. She got to go talk to
Cool.
some of the department heads for the music and education programs and
That's
got to
cool.
learn a bunch about speech pathology, which is something she is interested in. So, all in all, today was a good day. I sat in grandma's house and actually did work, so I wasn't able to go with her, but um, she said she had a great time. So,
That's cool. That's
mhm.
awesome. That's exciting. Wow. Hmm. ah, I'm gonna freak out when I have to send a kid to college. Uh,
That's not too far off now.
I know. Yee, yeeks. Okay, well, don't remind me. Uh, yeah. Actually, I've been camping with the boys for spring break, so I actually took this week off because they both have spring break this week, and so we loaded up the camper on Saturday to
hmm
head out. We just went out to the coast, and I don't think I said on the podcast. It's probably a little too personal. Doesn't matter. But like we used to have a camper, but it got a leak in the roof, and insurance basically. I went to try and get it fixed, and they were like, no. Anytime the roof leaks in these, you total it out, and I was anyway. So I have a new camper that we just got like a month ago. Not new to me, I
Mm.
should say. And so this was kind of our maiden voyage, so to speak. And it did not. It was not auspicious. I should have, if I were a wise man, I would have tried out a few more of the systems before I was out actually at the campsite. But I did not because I am a fool. And
mm.
and in particular, two things, both water related, because, as we were loading it
Oh.
up, I filled the tank with water, and that was the first time I had filled the tank with water. I mean, when I bought it, the guy I bought it from had winterized it, and there was no water in it at all, and so I filled it with water, and but I did not, like, it was literally like on the runway to take off, basically. Like, I had it all hooked up,
Right.
pulled it past the water hose, filled it up with water, and then it was literally the last thing I did before we like hopped in the car and took off. And so as we got there, we got set up, and then I go in and I flip on the switch to turn on the pump and the water heater. And then I hear the pump running, which it normally does to pressurize the system. But then the pump just kind of keeps running and keeps running and keeps running. And then I start to hear water. And I'm like, well, that's like, where's the water coming from? And I look out back, and it's pouring out of the back external kitchen from the trailer. And so I turn off the pump.
Oops.
I go back there, and the cold water faucet, like the handle, had popped off, and so water was just pumping out of the faucet.
Oops.
And okay, then I was like, this is exciting. So I cleaned it up, I dried it up as much as I could, and wonder of wonders, I didn't even have a screwdriver in the trailer with me. Like, I didn't have my toolbox, which I normally have a little, like a little Harbor Freight a little kit, and just to kind of have nearby. But I didn't do that. So that was the first trip to the store, was to do that and to get I took the thing with me so I could kind of I got the screwdriver. I went in, I bought a screwdriver set, came out to the car, undid the handle so I could make sure I could see how I could put it back together. And then I was like, okay, I think I could do this. And so I go back, I put it back together, done. There it goes. And it pressurized. I was like, okay, this is good. Didn't leak. And so I'm like, all right, we're good to go. And then I'm like, wait, why is there water in the bathroom? and it turned out the toilet was leaking. The inlet valve, or there's I guess you'd say a valve. And so I was like, this is super awesome, not so much. And did a little bit of diagnosing. I'm like, the inlet screw is tight. It must be like broken plastic on the inside of this valve or something. And because I could kind of feel like where the water was coming from was not from either of the inlet or the outlet. And so I did a little YouTubing, and they're like, yep, this is what goes wrong. And so I was like, that's awesome. So that was my second trip to the store immediately. So I mean, it's a trailer, so I had to unhook the truck. So now I'm just driving the truck back and forth.
Right.
And so that was my second trip to the store, which they have this store out, and we were up near Long Beach, or I guess Ocean Park, really. They have this store up there that has everything. I swear, it's weird. It's a grocery store and a hardware store, and it's like a country store that has everything. And they did not have that. And so so I ordered it from Amazon and figured I'd go in the next morning to drive, 45 minutes to the nearest big store or big town and see if I could find something there. And anyway, wound up the next day as we were in town. So I basically just left the water pump off, and I'm like,
right.
No toilet, boys. So which is not awesome. But anyway, as we were in town the next day, my Amazon order actually got delivered. So my wife drove it out to us and met us out in Seaside, kind of halfway, so that she could hand over the part and the PS4 controllers, because we're camping, but I brought the PlayStation.
See, I was debating.
This is boys camping, and so I actually brought my iMac too.
I was debating, do I give him crap about calling it camping if you have a kitchen and a bathroom and your problem is plumbing? And then I saw your notes in here. Like, yeah. I'm giving you crap. You brought your iMac and PlayStation.
I literally did.
Camping.
This was boys camping. So we played a lot of games. Actually, we listened to an audiobook that was it was 35 hours in 4 days. So we did 9 hours a day of audiobook. On average. So yeah, anyway, whatever. So I got it fixed. Actually, it was awesome that Amazon delivered it that fast and on a Sunday. So anyway, we had a good time. And yes, we played a lot of games. We listened to a lot of audiobooks and went on a couple hikes, and we did some outside stuff too, but it was pretty cold. It was cold at night, and it rained a lot. So when it was raining, we were just inside playing games, which is not a bad thing to do with your kids.
No, to be completely fair, we brought a PlayStation to Grandma's house as well.
Hi, Pot. I'm
my
Kettle.
My boy was not... this was not a trip for him. This was a trip for
yes,
his sister. And so he's like, well, what am I going to do? And it was, we could bring PlayStation. Yes. Okay. Done. So.
That's funny.
But we did hook it up to Grandma's TV, just kind of stole the DVD input, and now the DVD is actually the PlayStation.
Sure.
So, good times.
That's awesome. No, it was good. So I literally just got back a few hours ago, and so yeah, that's been my last couple days. Oh, it's awesome. Fun. Well, it's fun. But yeah, so I'm maybe a little disconnected from the world here. I have been trying to kind of ignore work for the last couple days and kind of try and take a few days of downtime. So,
how successful have you been? Is the question.
Pretty.
That's the answer.
Pretty.
Right there.
Pretty. Well,
if you have to think about it,
on a scale of something to something else, I'm somewhere.
No, I appreciate your accuracy.
It's all good. Yeah. I'm very precise. It's funny. Okay, whatever. All right. Well, so I don't want to keep you up forever. We should get into topics and such here.
Alrighty.
So I did throw one thing into follow up, which was about the exchange.
More exchange
stuff. But this was another article by Catalan in the Record about a ransomware gang going by the name of Black Kingdom that is frantically trying to take advantage of the exchange vulnerability. And so here was a quote from Malware Tech blog. Said that someone just ran this script on all vulnerable Exchange servers via proxy logon vulnerability. It claims to be Black Kingdom ransomware, but doesn't appear to encrypt files, just drops a ransom note to every directory. But that must have been like their failing test, since it didn't encrypt files. But then, quote, the Black Kingdom gang appears to have realized its mistake yesterday, and according to a number of firms, attacks changed at the start of the week, and they're now encrypting files. So it's the words indiscriminately and at scale are used in as a direct quote.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, so there's my follow up, and not looking good. Hopefully people are
patching.
There's going to be so much fallout from this. Yeah, I feel for it. It's kind of like, watching something happen that has a secondary effect. You're just kind of waiting for the second shoe to drop.
Well, I have two topics today, and just because we haven't mentioned open S3 buckets in a while.
Oh.
Hobby Lobby.
Oh, really?
I'm sure you've heard of them.
Oh, yeah.
I think the place that got... It's an arts and crafts place. Didn't they get busted a while ago for something about artifacts looted from Iraq and
yep,
other random things they've been in the news for?
Not a company that I, quote unquote, would like to support. Thank you very much. Anyway.
Well, apparently they exposed a large amount in the order of 138 gigabytes of user data. That included customer names, phone numbers, home physical addresses and email addresses, and just the last 4 digits of their payment card. And apparently also source code for the company's, I assume it's their mobile apps.
Huh, really?
So
why would their source code be in an S3 bucket?
Yeah. So there you go. Another oopsie on the open S3 bucket front. And we can just move on from that one. The second article I pulled out is not a cybersecurity, a software flaw per se. This one is a man was sentenced to prison after hacking into a company and deleting Microsoft user accounts, 1,200 Microsoft user accounts, as part of a revenge plot. Apparently, this person had been working for an IT consulting firm and was helping them, a company, migrate to Office 360. Isn't it 365? The article said Office 360. I thought it was Office 365.
The first things Googling up are Office 365 login, so
Okay, good.
You are right.
That's what I thought. Anyways, so typo in the typo in that. Anyways, he was part of an IT firm that was helping a company migrate to Microsoft Office online.
So he was a consultant,
And
basically.
he was a consultant. And the company provided bad reviews of this person to the consulting firm that employed him,
Okay.
which pulled him from the assignment and then later fired him.
Okay.
And so he, probably a little upset that some company said he wasn't that great. And the company eventually, it doesn't say specifically that as a result of that company he was fired, but it just said later fired him. So I assume this company was probably not the only one that commented, but that's all the article says.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole Justice Department news release around this as well. But after his firing, I guess he had returned home to the country. It was an Indian national, it says. He returned home to his country after deleting all the Microsoft user accounts. The company had to shutter their operations for 2 days and experienced issues that lasted for 3 months while they tried to get stuff restored and put back and all the teams' environments set up again. And apparently this person, who was unaware that there was an arrest warrant for him in the U.S., returned back to the U.S. in January of this year, probably to start another job, and was apprehended. So it was a active sabotage, and so he has a now 2-year prison sentence in the U.S.
Wow.
And we'll see. And then an additional 3 years of supervised release, and was ordered to pay the company over $500,000. So that it cost them to rebuild everything back up after his hack. So maybe don't do that kind of stuff. It'll catch up to you eventually. So those were the two articles that I found interesting this week.
I had not heard that. I don't think I'd heard either of those because I've been off the grid. But yeah, interesting. I wonder, do India and the U.S. not have an extradition treaty? I have no idea.
I have no idea, or maybe this one just didn't qualify as a high enough problem. I think you probably... I didn't read all the details of the Justice Department news release and the Justice Department stuff. I just read the overview article that talked about it. So.
Yeah. Huh. Well, being a consultant is a hard job.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Okay. Well, good luck to them. All right. So what did I do? I pulled out two articles. The first of which was from late last week, but it's sort of almost a follow-up from our article we talked about a few weeks ago about 0 days in 2020.
Right.
But this is a follow-up from another article from February or March of 2020 that used 4 0 days, a particular advanced actor. And nobody was attributed in this, but an actor that used 4 0 days in February of 2020 to chain together and compromise fully patched Windows and Android devices. So there was a presentation, I think, by Maddie Stone from Project Zero that said in the 8 months following the February attacks, quote, the same group exploited 7 more previously unknown vulnerabilities, including some in iOS as well as the Windows and Android OSs. So, very sophisticated actor. The Project Zero and tags called the group, quote, highly sophisticated. So in all of the attacks, I'm going to read this other quote here. In all of the attacks, the watering hole sites redirected visitors to a sprawling infrastructure that installed different exploits depending on the devices and browsers visitors were using. Whereas the 2 servers used in February exploited only Windows and Android devices, the later attacks also exploited devices running iOS. and they have a diagram of how it worked. But the they even had some 0 days kind of on the bench because there was another quote in here that said that let's see, where was the quote here? After Google patched a code execution vulnerability the attackers had been exploiting in the Chrome renderer in February, the attackers quickly added a new code execution exploit for the Chrome V8 engine. So, in total, there was a full chain targeting fully patched Windows 10 using Google Chrome, 2 partial chains targeting 2 different fully patched Android devices running Android 10 and Google Chrome and the Samsung browser, and remote code execution exploits for iOS 11 through 13 and privilege escalation for iOS 13. So in total, there were 7 additional 0 days used. They did not, like I said, they didn't give any attribution, but, our general thing of, patch, stay patched, these were 0 days used against fully patched, fully up-to-date OSs. And, this is not something that patching can save you against.
If it's software, it has bugs. It's just a function of finding.
It is. I mean, I look at the types of bugs that are being found these days and think how much more impressive they are and how many more gyrations that have to be gone through. But, the surface area has expanded so dramatically as well. Is there an end in sight? I don't know. I don't think so. So I don't know. That's my perhaps tired pessimism talking. But the final quote in here was, Thursday's post offered no details on the group responsible for the attacks. It would be especially interesting to know if the hackers are part of a group that's already known to researchers or a previously unseen team. Also useful would be information about the people who were targeted. So obviously not things that Google is making public, but presumably these are the sorts of things that would be used against very high value targets. Yeah, I don't know what the cost to buy a 0 day on the open market is these days, but it used to be about $1 million, didn't it?
I think for depending on the OS, right?
Yeah, I remember when it wasn't too long ago that Android surpassed iOS for how how costly a 0 day was. But
not cheap, unless you're a Bitcoin billionaire. Then whatever.
Maybe you could pay an NFT.
That's right.
All right.
Trade an NFT. Yeah.
Okay. My second article was so I kind of had an ulterior motive for choosing this one, but I thought this was a pretty good article in the sense that it kind of walked you through the mind of developing an exploit. And so this is somebody who disclosed this seemingly properly to TikTok. Sorry, this is a bug in the Android TikTok app, remote code execution. And the thing that kind of attracted me to this article was the fact that it was the fact that they, walked through the steps that they took. So, for example, the first thing they're trying to do is, do I have cross-site scripting? Can I get the app to execute JavaScript that I pass it? And, first thing he tries doesn't work, but he, is running it through essentially a proxy and can see what's being passed to the JavaScript engine and can see that it's being escaped. And so they're smart and realize, let me put my, this is like little Bobby Tables, right? Close parenthesis, comma, alert 1 at the end of the after a pound in the URL, so that the URL parser, which is what's doing the escaping, doesn't think that the rest is part of the URL. And sure enough, he's got an alert window up. So has a cross-site scripting vulnerability. And then he's trying to figure out, okay, so how do I leverage that, the ability to run arbitrary JavaScript, to sort of elevate that to being able to replace some file on disk and then be able to execute it. And so they walk through the steps. So for example, the next step was to figure out a way to call a function in, sorry, I didn't have it here. Seemed like it was a plugin of some sort that was used. So add wiki activity. And there's some code in here that attempted to validate whether, the URL was proper, and basically do some sanity checking, but it only checked for whether the prefix of the URL was HTTP or HTTPS. So if your URL was for like an app-based URL, right, or perhaps I shouldn't say URL, a URI that has some other set of characters before the colon. So in this case, it was AWEME, which is something about this add wiki activity. Right. It's basically a way of bypassing the sanity checking, but still passing a URL to this other URI that he could get to execute. And sure enough, they're able to get through that. And then this is actually why I chose this one, was kind of this next step, because there was a thing in here that you have to pass in order to get it to download a file. You have to pass it a file with a file name of the form something _ and then the MD5 of the file .zip. And then the thing validated that the MD5 of the file was the same as what got downloaded. But he's in charge of both the file and the MD5. So I was thinking of you with hash check, right? Oh. Of, validating, post, what's the URL that I'm supposed to download? Or sorry, what's the hash of the thing I'm supposed to download? Did I download the right hash? And that's really important. So long as you get the hash from a different source from where you got the file from. Because if you're just getting the hash from the same place you get the file from, whoever posts the file can just make sure that the hash
change the hash too.
Change the hash to be the valid hash. And then, so what's it validating? It's validating that the integrity of what you download, right? So presumably the hash check succeeds. And so, yes, right. This is absolutely the hack you're looking for. So I don't know. Anyway, but that was what made me go, okay, I should totally do that one, because that's kind of kind of something you've been
that's funny.
You've been working with lately. But anyway, so he was able to get this to download a file of his choosing and unzip it, and then was able to get it. The final thing I think was to get it to execute some code of his choosing, and so the final thing was a way. So he, that's right. So he was able to override a native library with his malicious library, and then that would be executed on reloading, force relaunch, and boom, he's got remote code execution. So anyway, nice. I liked how he walked through the steps and everything there, and that was pretty cool.
Well written.
And it was fixed, or it is being fixed. It sounds like the vulnerable cross-site scripting code was deleted. The TMA test activity, that one of the things he used for escalation was deleted because it wasn't necessary, and then some additional restrictions to their intent scheme is done. So anyway, that was it. I thought that was a pretty cool article.
Yeah, very nice.
There you go.
I will say on the hash check front, I am using it more than I actually expected to. It's kind of fun to actually find real world use for a tool that I think is cool and then I just never use. I write and then I never use.
Uh-huh.
I have actually used hashtag quite a bit. Well,
Okay.
quite a bit is too strong. Once or twice a week, I'll end up saying, hey, I can actually check with my tool
Whether
the
that
thing
was
that
correct.
I downloaded. Assuming, right, the bad guy hasn't hacked both the website and the download site.
At least if they're two different things, then,
Yeah.
that's two targets. So,
Yeah.
kind of
So
two-factor hacking.
It's been nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
No one has acquired it from the App Store though.
Oh, really?
Probably because it costs money.
That's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's cool. All right. How about something fun?
All right. So my something fun, I think I threw in Slack a number of weeks ago, but then I didn't use it because I had some other something fun. But this one is a website called Space Probes.
I have not gone here.
Spaceprobe.es. So they're being tricky with the extension. So it's SPACEPROB.es. So they're using us. I think that's for Spain.
I was going to say
site.
España, I think.
Yeah, Space Probes. So you can go to this website, and then the whole point of this website is just to show you a list of all the current space probes that are out there. And you can sort by when did they launch or how far away from Earth are they. And so it just kind of gives you and it's not just US only. It includes all the Chinese and Indian and European space agency probes that are out there. And it'll give you little notes about them. And it'll show you a picture if they're equipped with cameras, which I think most of them are. It'll show you a picture that it's taken. It'll tell you where it's at, what kind of equipment that is on it, and just a little bit about when it launched. It's a short detail. So it's not a whole lot of detail, but then it gives you a worth exploring. So if you find I thought the Osiris Rex was a fun name, and that's the one that is it's going to go out to an asteroid, collect a piece off that asteroid, and then supposed to still return to Earth in 2023. So it gives you some details about what's on the probe, how far away from Earth it is, where it's going, when did it get there, when's it coming back, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of fun.
Okay, this is totally cool.
Yeah, it's not a complicated website, very simple website, but a lot of fun. I think a lot of fun. So.
Now, I'm sorry, I'm looking at data from Voyager 1. There was a worth exploring. Here's the data from the cosmic ray detector, and NASA says here's where you get the data, and then be careful with the data after June after June 8th of 2019. Be careful because they turned off the Voyager 2 CRS heaters. So, okay. Who knows? But that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You want to go download and plot some Voyager data?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of them have that, from all sorts of different space agencies. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's not a complicated website. It's not it has a nice, pleasant view and just short blurb. If you're interested in space probes but aren't a total space geek, you just go check things out. And it has pictures and anyways, I like it.
Okay.
It was fun.
Okay. That's cool.
All
now
right.
I'm looking at images from Mars Odyssey. Okay. What'd I do? Okay. So, okay. Oh, all right. So my first this is totally not fun. So I'm gonna pull an Eric, and I'm gonna have something fun that's not fun.
I haven't pulled an Eric for a long time. So
it's true. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be picking on you. Oh, but so this is about the worldwide global container shortage. Did you see the picture on Twitter the other day for the shipping container ship stuck?
The worldwide container shortage is just going to get worse for anything that tries to go through, what is it, the Suez
It was
Canal?
the Suez Canal. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So for
Oops.
future Earthlings listening to this, was it just yesterday? Maybe the day before. There was, I don't even know if it's stuck. It's still stuck. I've been off the grid, but I saw a picture on Twitter of a gigantic container ship horizontally stuck in the Suez Canal and blocking traffic.
And a
So
tiny little backhoe
tiny,
trying to dig it
tiny
out.
excavator. I don't like. Oh, anyway. So okay, but I was unaware that there is a global, worldwide container shortage, and I was like, what is this? So here's a quote. The freight shipping is in the midst of a unique and unusual predicament. An unforeseen cascade of events caused by the pandemic has us facing a worldwide container shortage crisis. It's a crisis because the lack of containers has a ripple effect down the entire supply chain, disrupting trade on a global scale. So, and I guess when we're saying container, I'm meaning these, I think they're like 40 or 53 foot, like, gigantic metal boxes. And these are what get loaded onto ships, and they're called container ships. And they are, they're responsible for the cheap shipping across the,
yeah, because they're designed to oceans. Be like Legos. You stack them.
And they fill them up.
Yep.
Like thousands. Yep. So anyway, so where have all the containers gone? So basically, essentially, the containers have been, Asia first hit by the pandemic, first to recover. And so containers have been shipping out of Asia and then being locked in other in other continents for the last while, and are not getting cleared. And so there's a total shortage. So anyway, let's see. So this article has a bunch of information about this, but let's see. There was no time to clear the very large backlog of containers with limited workers before more started arriving. North America currently faces a 40% imbalance, which means that for every 100 containers that arrive, only 40 are exported. So 60 out of every 100 containers continue to accumulate, which is a staggering figure considering the China to USA trade route sustains on average 900,000 TEUs. I assume that's I don't know what TEU stands for.
A measure of containers.
A measure of containers? something units. I'm going to go with U stands for units. That's during a normal year. The current shipping volume is at record highs this quarter, up 23% according to last year. So basically, stateside shipments are not slowing, but the blah blah blah. Here's the thing. Another thing. Who knew this thing existed? The Drewry World Container Index. Did you know there was a Drewry World Container Index? I did not. Currently at its highest in 4 years, eastbound container freight rates have not just increased a lot since the beginning of the COVID-19 outbreak. They have more than doubled, eclipsing all historical highs. Southeast Asia to U.S. rates have spiked from around 2,000 to an eye-watering 4,500 per 40-foot container. So there's a huge graph. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. And then they're also like getting rid, like containers are being scrapped faster than they're being built, which has also caused the problem. And I've seen containers for sale. In fact, I have a friend that has bought one not too long ago, which is kind of funny. But
yeah. Well,
anyway.
Real-time follow-up.
Okay. TEU?
Please try to guess what TEU stand for. Because I can't wait to tell you what it actually stands for.
I don't even have a guess. What container?
TEUs, 20-foot equivalent units.
20-foot equivalent units. Okay, so a 40-foot container is 2 TEUs.
Yes, there you go.
Okay, I could have sat here for 1,000 years and not guessed that. So anyway, okay. So I'm not gonna belabor the point. You get it. Funny article, kind of cool, crazy situation. You can imagine how this would actually happen in our worldwide pandemic.
Yeah.
But and it's not really a fun thing, but it's a very interesting thing. So I had to grab a fun thing. So my fun thing is that this is a post by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Mm-hmm. It says that the bald eagle population continues to soar. So Yay. Bald eagles once teetered on the brink of extinction, reaching an all-time low of 417 known nesting pairs in 1963 in the lower 48. But after decades of protection, banning of DDT, conservation efforts, blah, 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 the bald eagle population has flourished, growing to more than 71,400 nesting pairs. So that's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
There you go. So they were taken off the endangered species list in, I saw a graph in here somewhere, 2007. But, I can confirm that at our place, in Oregon, we see bald eagles every year. And they come in early in the spring. And I think they're hunting geese or something. They're like, I don't know. That seems to be the thing when they come in. And they're not here all year. I don't know where they go. But it's always fun when we see our first bald eagle and kind of it's cool. So anyway, I thought that was cool. Yeah. Less intellectually intriguing than the worldwide container shortage, but much more actually fun. So there you go.
I'll make another mention back on the container shortage. So I have a buddy who developed, and I will probably end up using this for something fun at some point, but he developed a card game and had it printed in China. It has been stuck in Tacoma in a container waiting to be offloaded for weeks.
Oh.
And he's like, he did a Kickstarter for it. He's like, I'm at the mercy of the shipping before I can start fulfilling my Kickstarter orders, and then I can start selling it on Amazon, kind of thing. So
somewhere in some container, hopefully it's in Tacoma and not on the bottom of the ocean.
He did say, I guess they tracked. Yeah, they track it. He says he knows it's in Tacoma and it's just scheduled for unloading. It's just sitting waiting to be unloaded.
Oh wow!
Because of all the backup of people and it just first come. It's a it's a queue.
It's not quite first come first serve because Apple laptops are still getting unloaded somehow magically.
Yes,
iPhone.
I was thinking of that. There's some people who pay for priority.
I think you got your cut rate shipping or something.
Yeah. So the shipping container shortage seems to probably hit somebody somewhere.
Absolutely.
So, anyways.
All right. Well, I'm not sure that this is going to wind up being that short of an episode, Eric. So hopefully you can still get some sleep before tomorrow.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all right.
Good. Yep. Well, it's good to catch up. It's good to be back home at least. I'm gonna still take a couple more days and try and get some projects done around the house. But it's good to be back.
Alrighty.
Good to chat.
Hopefully you don't have more water issues.
Yeah, me too.
Knock on wood.
Water everywhere, and never where I want it. All right. Have a good night, Eric.
See ya.
Bye.
All right. Bye.